Well, hi, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the last video of 2023. It's at this time of the year that I generally sort of look back and think, well, what were the highlights of the year for me? And it's a bit of a review of 12 months of photography. We'll finish it up with my sort of 2023 shot of the year as well. It's interesting because not all of the shots that I'm going to show you are shots that I've actually recorded on video. I do quite a lot of trips where I don't take the video camera along, just to sort of focus on being in the moment and enjoying the photography. So quite a few of these shots you may not have seen in any videos. Some you will have, and what I'll do at the end is I'll put down a list, maybe in the description below, of links to any of the videos where some of these were caught, and I've posted a video on YouTube for you to watch. So I'll link these in the description below. Anyway, getting back to the video here, January of 2023. I'm going to go through sort of month by month and just think about some of the highlights. One of the first highlights of the year was we did a trip to the Blue Mountains, sort of west of Sydney, about an hour and a half west of Sydney. You head up into the Blue Mountains. There's a gorgeous waterfall there called Minnehaha Falls. I had never been before, and it's a little bit of a walk in, but once you get down there, the conditions on this particular day were just absolutely gorgeous. We'd had some rain, so there was a bit of water over the falls, and the light hitting the falls was just absolutely beautiful. So it definitely qualified as my sort of January highlight of 2023. Here's a couple of shots of Minnehaha Falls. Enjoy these. But also what I did in January, and I couldn't leave this out, was I actually went skiing in France with my son Connor. Went across to France for a couple of weeks, hit the ski slopes pretty hard, but I think it was one day we took a day off. I think it was probably on the weekend when everyone else was out skiing. We decided, let's just take a day off. And I actually found on Google Maps, it's your best mate of course, jumped on Google Maps, found out there was actually a waterfall quite near the town of Morzine that we were staying in. So went for a trek up into the mountains, found my way through a few of the town streets, and then through the streets to get up to where the waterfall was. I remember saying in that video, it was one of the few waterfalls I've actually ever walked uphill to get to a waterfall. Normally I'm walking down 3,000 steps to get to a waterfall. I actually walked uphill to get to this one, and when I got there, the actual waterfall was completely frozen. I had never seen anything like it in my life. Was so glad I made the effort to head up there. And it was just one little memorable shot that I thought was worth sharing with you here. So at the end of January 2023, here's the Neon Waterfall. Here we go. So glad I took time to go and jump on Google Maps and see if there was a waterfall nearby at the time we were staying there. It was just incredible to see that completely frozen. I was a bit nervous about standing on the ice in the river there taking the shot, but one of those memorable shots that you just never forget. So that moves us on to February, and February was a bit of a no-brainer for me. You know, I've been down to Sydney Harbour 50, 60 times to try and get a shot of, you know, the bridge or the Opera House with a nice sunrise behind it, and Sydney Harbour sort of became my nemesis. I had never, ever taken a shot that I was happy with in Sydney Harbour. February was the time. It just shows that, you know, persistence and a bit of patience pays off. February sure delivered. I got the shot that I was very happy with. In fact, it almost became my shot of the year because it was an absolute stunner with Sydney Opera House. So let's have a look at this one together. Sydney Opera House during sunrise. Here we go. Times kind of paid off in the end, so I got the shot I was after, which is great. So that takes us to March. March, there's a couple of shots to share with you. There was a trip that we did down to the south coast of New South Wales. I've done this trip a few times now, and it never fails to deliver. The south coast of New South Wales, so the Sapphire Coast they call it, is just incredibly spectacular. You run out of superlatives pretty quickly when you describe the south coast. Camel Rock on this occasion. We did a sunrise shoot at Camel Rock down by Bermagui. It's about 5 or 6 hours south of Sydney, and Camel Rock is just spectacular at any time of day. And I managed to get Camel Rock with a really nice sunrise behind it with a little bit of wave action right in front of us. So let's check the shot at Camel Rock. This is in March 2023. Here we go. So as if Camel Rock wasn't enough, and my shot at Sydney Harbour wasn't enough, another shot came out of Sydney Harbour in March 2023. This time from the Kirribilli side, sort of facing south. We got this really gorgeous looking sky with this sort of fan of sort of clouds over the kind of over the harbour bridge. So what I did for this shot was do a pano including all of Circular Quay and also including the bridge as well, and you'll see this beautiful sort of red fan of clouds over the bridge as well. Another one that made it into this year's highlight. So here we go for, again in March 2023, Sydney Harbour. Here we go. So that takes us to April of 2023. We did a trip, which is in the description below the link. We did a trip to Mulwala. There's a lake by the town of Mulwala. It kind of sits on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. Yarrawonga sits on the other side of the river there. Mulwala Lake is something quite special because in the lake itself there are these incredible dead trees that stand in the lake. Now when we went down, we were very fortunate with conditions. It was dead still, and not only were the trees standing out the lake, but you could see the full reflection of those trees as well. We had a sun that went down and just gave us these absolutely insane colours, and it was an easy one to choose for April of 2023. So let's have a look at this one together. There's a link in the description for this video on YouTube as well, so check that one out as well. Here we go. So right after the trip to Mulwala, we headed over to the Victorian High Country and visited Craig's Hut. Craig's Hut is one of these Australian iconic locations, and I was really happy to be able to shoot here. The traditional shot I've seen at Craig's Hut was from the other side, which is kind of the front entrance to the hut. But because we were shooting at sunset, I wanted to come around the rear side of the hut. I managed to get this shot sort of framed up with a tree above it, the sun heading down in the distance, and when the sun went down, the foreground was completely lit up. Super happy with the shot, and it was an easy decision to include that one in the video. Here's the shot.
Windows down, scattered clouds, smell of spring outside, open road, you sitting close, let's go somewhere far away.
You know, I'm standing at a lake here in the middle of Sydney, and there's quite a lot of, I think it might be carp that are in the lake, and every now and again one's just leaping out the water here, and they're huge. They're probably 2 feet long. They breed them well here. So that takes us into May. We're in May already. Again, I said earlier in the video here that I've been to Sydney Harbour 50, 60 times trying to get shots, 3 times in 1 year. This time I'm actually standing on top of Sydney Harbour Bridge looking down at Circular Quay and Sydney Harbour out towards the east. We got another nice sunrise there, and I had to include this one because it was just that different perspective on the harbour, and it was just one of those very peaceful, absolutely gorgeous shots of Sydney Harbour looking its best. So here we go for May 2023, Sydney Harbour.
As if all I have is you, then I'll be just fine.
So moving quickly along, we're in June already, and I've actually got 3 shots to show you from June. June was kind of special because, apart from the fact it was my birthday in June, but we decided to do a trip across the valley, and without planning too much ahead of the trip, once we got there, we jumped on Google, as you do, our best mate, and found some places to shoot that were just absolutely spectacular. There's one, the first one I'm going to show you here is on the east side of Bali, so it's a sunrise shot. Got up early one morning, saw there was going to be some high cloud around, and managed to get a shot here with the sun coming up, this amazing sky that was going on. Other people in this shot that I decided to leave in because it just added to the whole atmosphere of this shot. Very peaceful, everyone just sitting there enjoying the sunrise, and I thought it was worth sharing for you. So here's the shot from Bali, and we're going to come back and do a couple more. Here we go.
Heading for the western shore, while the sun it slowly fades. Days are full, and I spend them.
All right, I loved that morning. That was such an enjoyable morning. And then that same day in the afternoon, we decided to go waterfall hunting. And oh my goodness, I was completely blown away. Probably one of the best waterfall shots. In fact, it almost became my shot of the year. That's how much of a tough decision this was this year, because there was 2 waterfalls we found. One was like a cascade waterfall. The other one was at the end of a canyon, and go watch the video below. You'll see some of the canyon that we were walking through to get there. We're sort of knee deep in water to get through to the end of the canyon. Once we got to the end of the canyon, oh my goodness, this waterfall, not only was it enormous, it was just completely unique that it sort of fell into the canyon, and the water that we had been walking through was from the waterfall, of course. I got a break in the tourism traffic. Down that end of the canyon there weren't too many tourists, so thankfully my other half and regular model Betty managed to get in the shot for me, just to give the shot some scale, because otherwise it would have been very difficult to show the size of the waterfall that was dropping into the canyon here. So Betty modelled for me there, and I managed to get this shot in between the tourists coming in as well. So let's have a look at this one first, and then we'll talk about the next shot. Here we go.
Heading for the western shore, while the sun it slowly fades. Days are full.
All right, so that was the first waterfall. Insane place to go and visit. There was sun rays coming down into the canyon. There was just so many photogenic things to see down there. The other waterfall that we found was this cascading waterfall. This was absolutely beautiful, but where I was standing in the river was a little bit precarious because it was knee deep to a point, and then it kind of dropped off, and there were some big boulders. To get the shot I wanted, I had to sort of clamber onto the boulders, and so I'm sort of balanced on a rock with tripod doing gymnastics everywhere between boulders to try and hold it steady. What you can't see in the photo is off to the right of frame is a queue of tourists that were actually queuing up along the river waiting for their photo to be taken. One of the locals was taking their iPhones, and they were going to go up and pose on the waterfall. I managed to time this right because the girl that's in the shot was doing an incredible job of posing. She'd obviously done a few poses before, and some modeling, etc. And she was a pro, a complete pro at posing. And so I wanted to leave her in the shot, and again to give the photo some scale, but also just to give it some extra panache, if you like. She was amazing at doing it. She came across and stood beside me later, and we were having a bit of a chat. But here's the shot on the Cascade. A moment in time here. Managed to get it without any other tourists in the shot as well. So let's enjoy this one together. Here we go. we're getting through them. So we're in July already. July, there was one particular shot that kind of stood out for July. This one wasn't captured on video, but I normally don't do a lot of cityscape type of photography. But every now and again, you know, the conditions are right, we'll head off and try and see if we can get something nice across the city of Sydney. There's a spot down by one of the casinos down there that sort of faces the sort of Barangaroo and King Street Wharf type of area. And it shows the city off, I think, quite spectacularly. It's if you look very closely, you can see the Harbour Bridge down on the left side of frame, and it pans all the way across to where you have Centrepoint Tower, or Westfield Tower, whatever it's called nowadays, on the right-hand side of frame. And this was very much a blue hour shot, taken very, very early in the morning. And you can see the starting sort of hints of a red sky behind the towers as well. I just liked it because many of the city lights are still on, so it's sort of illuminating the buildings of the city. Plus you've got the makings of that blue and red sky behind it. Okay, so here we go, cityscape in July 2023. Check it out. Wow, it's another huge fish just jumped out right beside me there. Okay, we're into August. In August, we made a trip to the Central Coast, about an hour north of Sydney. There's a town on the Central Coast which is Avoca, and there's a little rock structure out on the rock ledge at Avoca there, which one of my photography colleagues, Gareth, had shot before and was kind enough to sort of take us out to and see. We got some really nice conditions, and I managed to photograph this. And so what's happening in this shot is you can see a little bit of a dip in the ledge out in the front. So in that dip, the water's coming through the ledge, and it's filling up this bowl where there's a rock in the center of the bowl. So you've got this really nice sort of lit up bowl of rock with the rock in the center. I've got some waves around, which sort of really gives some really nice texture. And at the time I took this shot, the sun is coming up just above the clouds in the distance there. So a lot going on in the shot, but it was just one of those shots that was, you know, for me it was photography is all about memories, and it's all about you know, creating these memories and these standout moments. And I distinctly remember standing there with a smile on my face, taking this shot at Avoca Beach on the Central Coast. Let's go and check it out. All right, we're in September already, and I've got a couple of shots from September for you. First one is particularly special because I actually got speaking to the family that owns the property where the Superman barn is situated. Now, many of you may not know, but in the original Superman movies, going way back, oh goodness, 40 years ago, whenever it was, maybe even 50 years ago now, the original series of movies with Christopher Reeve, the second movie, I think principally was shot in New South Wales. My understanding is that the family had a barn built in the American style of barn, so that the movie, it could be used as a prop in the movie. Now, of course, it's on private property, and the family was very gracious and allowed me to take a very, very small group of photographers just as a social event and to shoot the barn. And my goodness, it was a very special evening. So we got a sunset shoot done there. There is a video on this, so it's in the link in the description below. And it wasn't a sunset with a lot happening in the sky, but it really didn't matter because the barn itself is the subject of the shot, and it really brought back great memories. And I think I managed to capture a shot of the barn, which again, the photography is all about memories. It's all about creating these moments, and I thought we should share this one together. Let's have a look at the Superman barn. Here we go. All right, And then a little later on in that trip, that same trip, we actually visited the summit of Mount Caputar. Now Mount Caputar is a little bit further up towards Narrabri, and my goodness, if you ever get the chance to visit Mount Caputar, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. We were blessed with some nice conditions up there. You can actually camp on the summit of Mount Caputar. There's a national parks campsite up there. It had great amenities, facilities, etc. And we stood on the summit both for sunset and for sunrise. And the sunrise shot, again, was almost my shot of the year. We got amazing conditions with the light as the sun came over the mountains, sort of in the distance over to the east. So I'm going to show you both these shots. The sunset shot to the west, first of all, and then very, very early in the morning, on a very cold morning. We were absolutely freezing. I couldn't feel my fingers that morning. But the light, when it came over the horizon, just lit up the foreground in front of me, and I loved the distance and the levels of the shot as well. So here's both shots together, Mount Caputar, for the September. Here we go. So moving into October, we did another trip just a little bit south of Sydney. This is very close to Seacliff Bridge. There's a little town called Coalcliff, and Coalcliff has an amazing rock pool with this incredible rock structures where when the tide comes in and weaves between the rock structures. So I think there is a video on this one, so what I'm going to do is put a link to the video below. I love this shot. It was interesting looking at the foreground textures when the waves are coming between the rocks. I love the shot because of the mountains heading off, and you'll see the mountains heading off in the background there as well, the cliff edges. But mostly what I liked about the shot was just the texture of the colour. The colour I got as the sun was starting to come up was just spectacular. I loved the colour of the shot. It just had some really, really nice tones. So I wanted to share this with you again, just as a bit of a walk down memory lane. Here's the shot for October at Coalcliff. Here we go.
Well, I left my shores 1 month ago. I was sailing across the blue. The waters teemed with violent storms to send my boat. I
really can't believe the size of the fish in this lake. It's almost making me wish I brought my fishing rod. I'm sure the park ranger wouldn't be very happy about that, but it's quite incredible. So November, I'm going to combine November and December together here because we did a trip just very, very recently, and those videos are about to head up online, so keep a lookout for these because we've got some amazing conditions for this trip. The trip was down the south coast of New South Wales, and we went all the way down south coast New South Wales. We moved across into Victoria, and then after Victoria we came back up through, we were planning to do Victorian high country, but we ended up having to sort of just circumvent the high country a little bit because there was some very, very bad floods which blocked a lot of the roads that accessed the southern end of the Victorian high country. So we managed to make our way back into Jindabyne and then headed north from Jindabyne back towards Sydney again. So I've got a couple of shots here that have not been seen yet, and they will feature on videos. So the first shot I'm going to show you here is a jetty shot, which was taken in a spot called Mossy Point. Now Mossy Point's just south of Bateman's Bay, and we raced down to the jetty thinking it was facing east, of course, for the sunrise. It wasn't quite facing east, it was facing a little bit north of east, so you'll see in the frame of the shot the sun's kind of over here from the jetty. So I took 2 shots, literally 2 shots, and then we thought, well, let's move to another location. So we raced across town, observing the speed limits of course, but we raced across town to another beach, and we'll talk about that in a second. But here's one of the shots from the jetty, and you'll understand why we had to get 2 shots before we left. Let's check this out.
Pacific, why do you hold me? Why do you keep me to a war or a crime? Pacific, why don't you lose?
All right, so that was the jetty shot, but then we had to race around town, and look out for this because this video is coming up very soon. Managed to get to a beach called Guerilla Beach or Guerilla Bay, where we were now pointing towards the same sunrise a little bit later in the day, and managing to catch some waves crash over the rocks. So this was a shot from that same morning at Guerilla Bay. Let's check this one out together. Here we go.
Silver stars.
All right, so now we're at the final shot of the video before we do a drum roll and do shot of the year. This shot was in Victoria, a little place called Lakes Entrance down in Victoria there. It was interesting because we went to Lakes Entrance not really expecting very much. We didn't have a list of things to shoot there. We just wanted to go down, enjoy it, take our time, just explore the town and take it easy. Wow, were we blown away. We had a look at the conditions. There were some high clouds around. We had a look on Google's best mate, what can we go and shoot? So we found this little spot that was inside one of the lagoons at Lakes Entrance with the jetty heading out, and we got the sunrise of all sunrises, probably one of the best sunrises of 2023. It was absolutely incredible. And it just kept delivering, kept delivering, kept delivering. So this one will not be featured in a video because I didn't shoot any video for this particular sunrise. But I think you'll enjoy the shot. So let's enjoy the shot together from December, Lakes Entrance in Victoria, special sunrise. Here we go. Tracker, wasn't it? Standing looking at that at the time, we were just gobsmacked. And the reason I didn't do a video was because I was standing sort of between someone's property and the water, so just in that little beach area, and it was super early in the morning. I didn't want to wake people up, so I thought, let's just be respectful. Don't make a lot of noise and shoot videos. So that brings us to the 2023 shot of the year. My shot of the year, and we're back on the Narrabri trip. So we did Mount Capular just before Mount Capular. We did a shoot on the CSIRO property where the radio telescopes are housed, where they're located. They're very gracious. Every year they open the doors and allow photographers to come in, shoot the radio telescopes with the galaxy behind. And it was something that I'd had on my to-do list for years. I'd never had the opportunity to do it, but I thought, my goodness, it's time to do this. We had absolutely perfect conditions, no wind at all, no clouds at all, the full galaxy with 3 of these incredible radio telescopes in the shot. There's a video down below that'll show you a lot more of the sort of daily activity that we were doing on the spot. But it's probably my shot of the year, and let's enjoy it together right now. Here it comes. One of those shots where I've planned it for years and years, and finally made the effort to go and do this, and got perfect conditions, got no wind, no clouds, the galaxy in the right position with all the telescopes actually pointing at the galaxy. Those telescopes move all the time because they're tracking things that they're shooting. So to get the shot where all the 3 telescopes were actually pointing up at the galaxy, had to make shot of the year. There was a few candidates, so we had The lake's entrance sunrise was incredible, the 50 or 60 times in Sydney Harbour, and then getting that final shot where I actually get a sunrise over Sydney Harbour was also incredible. I loved the Mount Capudar sunrise with the sun coming over the horizon and it all lit up on the mountain right in front of me. There were so many candidates, but shot of the year this year was Narrabri and the radio telescope. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up just down here, and do me a favour. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's taken a very, very long time to get to 2,000 subscribers on the channel, and I've got some big plans for the channel next year, and I'd really like to try and grow that subscriber base there so we can bring a lot more content to you. I've got big plans, as I said, for things that we can bring to you next year. So if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. All right, we're done for the year. I hope you have a great and happy new year, and we're going to see you in 2024. Cheers.